What's up, guys? This is Jumon Khan on YouTube for the One-Eyed Dragons. Today, I'm going to do a little review of 2064 Read-Only Memories. Let's go back to the beginning. I didn't really know a whole lot about the game. I picked it up just off of the trailer watching it, and it struck me that this game seemed kind of similar to some other games I had played in the past, and boy was I right. So let's just get right into it. 2064 Read-Only Memories is the perfect title for this game, where you basically do nothing while listening to the alt cultural push coming out of the game's staff and writers. For instance, instead of transgendered people, you have trans-species people. The game even asks you which pronouns you want used when the main character refers to you. Turing, a genderless robot voiced by a woman, The Walking Dead's Melissa Hutchinson, begins making you a profile on her robot hardware. This obvious intentions of the devs and the writers is to put LGBT rights perspectives and social situations front and center is even more evident later in the game, as Turing is actually called her by one character and he by another, just so the writers can work in more gender identity issues if that wasn't already clear to the player. I say player with quotation marks because you aren't really playing this game at all. This game tries to include every subgroup of culture and tackles relevant social questions that are flying around in today's society while putting forth no real effort in making the game interesting, enjoyable, or memorable.
And while I don't think there's anything wrong with a game having those kinds of things front and center because it helps start a conversation and a dialogue in the gaming community about these things and in the greater community as a whole, I don't think the player needs to be constantly beat over the head by it like Read-Only Memories does in a ham-fisted manner. It just seems forced, and there's no reason for it.
Read-Only Memories began life as a Kickstarter game back in 2013. It had a goal of $62,000, and with about 1,700 backers, it hit that goal. Originally intended for Steam, iOS, Ouya, if anyone remembers that piece of shit, Windows, and Android, it has since been ported to Xbox, PS4, and Vita. Now, in what is considered a director's cut version, they added some more voice acting, a few new animations for the console versions. And once you boot the game up, it greets you with what seems to be a promising start. The title screen is very good, the music is excellent, and they give you a decent prologue or rundown of what the situation is that you're going to encounter in the game or what the state of the world is during the gameplay. But immediately, if you're a fan of a certain game, you immediately notice some similarities.
Faces its greatest crisis, the appearance of a mysterious android life form. Its purpose and origin are unknown. Is it a new form of weapon? Or perhaps an invasion from some other world? They appear during winter, killing humans and infiltrating society by taking the place of their victims. Employing an artificial skin, they can sweat and even bleed. Part organic, part machine, they're almost impossible to distinguish from those they kill. As they steal their victims' bodies in order to take their place, these mysterious invaders become known as Snatchers.
That game is Kojima Productions' Snatcher, 1988 MSX computer game about robots who steal people's skins and assume their identities. Kojima's game takes place in a Bay city called Neo-Kobe in Japan in 2047. Conversely, Read-Only Memories takes place in a Bay city, Neo-San Francisco, in America in 2064. In Snatchers, you play an ex-Special Forces soldier turned detective who takes a job as a junker, which is a cop who tries to stop a biroid menace, as they say in the game, all the while trying to recover your memories that you have lost because you and your wife have amnesia. The game has good music, and the menus aren't that difficult to navigate, although at times it can be hard to just get the right selection of an item done. The locations are varied, the map is really big, and travel isn't too hard, and the game makes good use of its art style. Unfortunately, for everything that ROM does well, it does 3 other things really, really wrong. The story is very political and heavy-handed. Some other reviewers have noted before the amount of dialogue is really, really dry and at times makes the game more a job than a game. The characters are voice acted, and that helps, but honestly, most of the talking isn't needed and doesn't add anything to the experience at all. I found myself just skipping whole sections just to get to the next section to advance the story. Pacing, pacing, pacing. This game lacks it in all situations. The moments that are supposed to make you feel or care for the different characters of the game don't really do that. The main protagonist is faceless, bodiless, and voiceless, as well as your inability to choose some options from the conversation menu, lest you get beat in the face by the trans-species character later in the game, take all the fun out of the experience, honestly.
And what I mean by that is, I went to meet one of the characters that's trans species. They had some dialogue options I thought were pretty funny, so I decided to go with those. The more I went with those, the more hostile the character got. And then worse yet, later on in the game, she remained hostile no matter what I did, to the fact that I was trying to make up for it, realizing, which I didn't know originally, that my choices of dialogue choice were going to affect how our interactions happened later on in the game.
In a word, 2064 Read-Only Memories is a pretty good first try from this dev, but honestly, this game needed more bake time, or at least more content. Talking sections while you listen to a robot expound on existence isn't content. It's simply fluff and filler, and 2064 ROM has that in bucket loads. Now, the fact that the game borrows heavily from Snatcher is not that big a deal, because Kojima himself basically took the whole idea for the Snatcher game from Blade Runner. And if you look at it, there are several things about it that hint and tell you exactly that Blade Runner was the base material for Snatchers. So 2064 Read-Only Memories, having Snatcher as its base or source material is not a bad thing. But there are some similarities that just make it over the top. Like, they didn't just use it for source material. I think they actually used it as a blueprint or template to build their game. So in conclusion, 2064 Read-Only Memories, I'm going to give a 4 out of 10. It's slightly below average in the fact that there's really not that much content going on here. In all, there are maybe 4 puzzles in the game. One that involves a driving section where you block lights off for some blinking lights on the screen. 2, a section where you help a rapper finish his raps with items you give him. 3, a little arcade shooter game. And 4, the ending puzzle, which I won't spoil for anyone in case they want to play it. So that's my take on it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Be sure to leave a comment down below if you didn't. Like, share, subscribe, and sub. Thanks for watching.
Time moves, never with the sun.